What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar here. We're going to make a very quick video on Bitcoin. We just had the week close. We're going to talk about this bearish descending pattern that we're in. So this is a bearish descending triangle. I say bearish because we are in a bearish trend. The descending triangle itself, you can see we've got a base here, we've got a lower low. There's a little triangle here. If it's not obvious, I can draw a line right there, and you can see that there's a little triangle right here in this little box. Technically speaking, very technically speaking, because this is technical analysis, the pattern doesn't start really until we hit here. But this was the low. We do have the base all the way back here, so it's it's up for interpretation. But the main point that I'm trying to deliver here is that we are at the end of this pattern. We have literally 1, 2, maybe even 3, not even 3 actually. Less than 2, we have less than 3 weeks before we hit the apex. That point there is the apex of the pattern. The fact that we're in this pattern is so developed could mean a few things. Primarily, it means that we are about to break out. And if we break out, we could break out to the downside, we could break out to the upside. It could also mean that we might be misinterpreting this pattern. Maybe we keep going sideways. Maybe this is kind of like a false pattern. It could be. It's completely possible. But for right now, as a trader, as a emotionless viewer, an observer of the charts, we can say that we have lower highs, a flat base. This is not a good thing to see in the charts. We have lackluster volume. If we go to the daily scale, we just closed our day. We just opened up a new week here. Very lackluster volume, right? On the bright side, we do have a bullish engulfing candle here. This is the biggest candle we've seen in 2 weeks on a body basis. It's the biggest body of a candle that we've seen in over 2 weeks. But what sucks about it, what sucks a big old sucker about it, is the fact that we have a lower high here. If I was to draw a horizontal line at the top, the very top here, we zoom in a little bit, we can see that we have a lower high. The wick here is slightly higher on the red one. You can see it, it's right there. It's a lower high. And we also have lackluster volume. It's not a good thing. To be completely fair too, this close, it is slightly higher than this high. Slightly higher than that close. But with the RSI looking the way it does, how it's like it's a noticeable higher high where these kind of look the same. This could be interpreted as hidden bearish divergence, which is not a good thing. But also, to be very technical, at a very technical level, we're doing TA after all. This is bullish convergence. It is bullish convergence. A lot of people don't talk about bullish convergence and bearish convergence. They only talk about bearish or bullish divergence. If you don't know what I'm talking about here, let me show you a quick example. You have a low here in the RSI. You have a higher low here in the RSI. You can see it. While having a low in the price and a lower low. Lower lows in the price, but higher lows in the RSI. That's a good thing for price action. And look at what happened afterwards. We bounced. We had a little bounce, right? This is not divergence though. It's not lower highs versus higher highs or lower lows versus higher lows. No. It's higher highs and higher highs. It's converging. What's also good about this is the fact that we're above the 50 level on the short-term RSI. It's nice. It's a good thing. But, I mean, to be fair, it's just another lower high and a series of highs on this RSI. Oop. Kind of see it right there, right? We're kind of in this descending pattern here. And if we were to draw from a low point here to all of our low points, maybe we can adjust that a little bit better. Something like that. We're in this tightening range in the RSI. Things are winding up. We're getting ready for a move. Maybe it's to the upside, maybe it's to the downside. We don't know. What's going to help us know, really, is if price can get above, in my opinion, can get above $20,000. That'll be very suggestive. But even more so, above $20,500, that'd be very suggestive that we're going to go above this MA. Getting above this MA too would be very important, I think, if we're going to go higher. That'd be the first time that we've been above this MA, man, in a very long time. Since, very technically speaking, since April, be the first time that we've gotten above this MA. It could happen. It's entirely possible. Is it likely? I don't know. It's hard to say, honestly. I am leaning to the bearish side. The fact that we have this flattening base, these lower highs, I am leaning bearish. But we could go up. It's completely fair. It's something to watch. And I just want to put it on your radar that while we do have this bullish engulfing candle right now, look at the rest of the chart. Don't get too excited, because guess what else we're seeing? Lackluster volume. We're seeing this tightening range in the RSI. We're actually at the top of it right now. We're at the top of it, which is not necessarily where you want to be. You know, if we were engulfing and we were kind of in the midst of it going up, that would be good. You want to see that. But we're getting toward the ends of it, which is when we find a breakout. It looks like already, 50 minutes into the day, we're pointing down. We do have 23 hours to go. This day could close green. And if we can get out of this, that'd actually look very good. If we can get above this, that would look very good. I'd be convinced, actually, just by getting out of this range, this constricting range in the RSI, I would be convinced that we're probably going to go above $22,000. Not going to lie. Above this red line, above this purple line, which would just be fantastic for price action, at least for the short term. But if it looks like that we're going to come back down and touch this line, to me, the likelihood of us breaking out of this range on the RSI to the downside is high. And if we break out of the range on the RSI to the downside, that means that we're going to go lower in price action. This next day to 2 days is very critical. And the reason why I say day, we're on a new week. It is Sunday where I'm at, but on UTC times, right? UTC, technically it's a Monday. You can scroll over. It says Monday, the 24th of October. If we go to BTC, and we go to the CME futures, we can see that we have a gap, a very nice gap, a very established gap to the upside. These gaps get filled. You can see here, I mean, look, we got a gap here. Sure, we went up a little bit, but guess what? We came back down and crashed. Boom, we filled this gap. We got a gap here. We went, I mean, technically, we gapped up, and we probably came down and then finished the day green, which is nice, but we gapped up first and we closed it. The odds of us, in my opinion, closing this gap, the fact that we have this gap, look at it, you can see it. It's not a good thing. Not on the CME futures. These gaps form because the CME futures are traded on a business day basis. Business day. In America, in the United States, a business day is between Monday and Friday. It's technically Monday now. You can look at the chart, right? It says Monday. Monday through Friday. It doesn't include the weekends. And on the weekend, we had bullish price action. And the weekend tends to be bullshit. It tends to be like kind of confusing. And on the CME price, you can even see we have a lower high. We have this gap to the upside. Not good things. Lackluster volume. Very lackluster volume. And in fact, I guess the last 3 days we had no volume. The only volume that we've seen so far, I mean, that's been significant. Wow, that's crazy, man. No volume. It's like nobody traded it basically in the last 3 days. That's freaking crazy, man. The only people that have traded it have been probably the market makers, probably people who are trading it for pennies or dollars, whatever, to move the price down. But no volume at all. The only volume that we've seen so far has come in today. And what have we gotten within 50 minutes? Not even 50. It's 20 hours. That doesn't make sense. I don't know. This just opened up an hour ago, so it says it should have been. Regardless, what we've had in the last hour is more volume than we've had in 3 days. It's the most volume out of a whole total of 4 days, and most of this candle already is a wick to the upside. That's not good. It's not good. And not that CME dictates everything, but to anybody in the space that knows this shit, this is pretty indicative that we will come down and fill the gap. Here we open up to the upside, and we did go higher, but not before filling the gap. We've got a gap here. We did come up a little bit. We had some fun for a second, but ultimately we came down and filled the gap. We even had a gap here to the downside, and then we wicked up, filled the gap, went lower. Had a little gap here, again, like I was talking about, went up, but then we came back down, closed to fill the gap. We've got a gap. It's not filled. I don't think that we're going to make any significant moves to the upside until that gap's filled. So for the time being, personally, I am bearish. I'm definitely bearish. I think that this rally This little, I'm going to go back to the regular chart here, BTC USD, Coinbase. I think this little 3 days of green is to psych people out. 2 of those days were on the weekend. I guess, let me see. I mean, technically Friday, Saturday, Sunday, all 3 of those days were on the weekend. Not a whole lot of volume. And in my opinion, the RSI is positioned bearishly so far. It depends on today's close, but so far it's bearishly positioned. And we're at the end of this kind of range. We are also, going back to the weekly basis on Bitcoin, we are also at the end of this bearish descending triangle. We can look at it, right, like this. You can see, oh, damn, maybe not like that. You can see we're at the end of this pattern as well. Could we break above it and go higher? Yes. If that happens, we are probably going to go, I mean, the way to measure this, you would go from top here to the bottom. You would take this, and from the point of breakout, if it was this week to break out, we would go all the way up to about $26,000, $27,000. That's the measure move target. But if we were to break down from here, and we were to break at the lower line here, this will send us down potentially to $14,000. Does this target have to be met? Absolutely not. But it is the target nonetheless. Right now we're still in this range. It's hard to say if we're going to go lower or higher. I think a good way to suggest that this range is invalidated is if we just keep moving sideways. You know, if we break out of this range next week or two and we don't really have a significant move up, it's not that it's suggesting that we go down, but it's suggesting that maybe this range is not what we thought it was. But not gonna lie, having lower highs with a flat base, it's not a good thing. It's not a good look for anything, any kind of chart. The only good thing, there's 2 good things. Again, I started the video by saying this. I'm going to end the video saying this. There's 2 good things going for Bitcoin right now. We bullishly engulfed. We had a very big daily close compared to the last 2 weeks, and the RSI on the short term RSI is right now above the 50. That's a good thing. You can't deny it. The bad things: this RSI has created a lower high. The price is creating lower highs. We have lackluster volume, and we have the CME gap. I think, personally, my opinion, this candle is just to psych people out. It's to get people to buy on a new week, and I do think that we're getting ready for a move down. Same narrative as I've been saying for the past couple months now. That's all I got for you guys. I hope you have a wonderful day. Be careful with your trades. Be careful with your investments. I do expect Bitcoin to go down lower. And until we break this low here, I'm not buying. I'm not buying. If you want to buy, go ahead and buy it. We're at $19,500. If you buy now and you hold it for 5 years, I can promise you, and this is not financial advice, but man, I can promise you, you're not going to be upset. You won't be upset, man. You're going to look smart. Even if Bitcoin was to drop down to $10,000 right now, if you buy it here in 10 years, 5 years even, people are going to be like, wow, how did you know? And it's like, you don't have to know, man. You're buying right now. If you were to buy, I'm talking to my investors, not my traders here, okay? Let me see if I can get it. If you were to buy, this is the 2017 all-time high, the last bull cycle all-time high. Not the current one that we just had, but the one before that. You're buying below it. If you're buying below the last cycle's high in a series of a macro uptrend, we go on the monthly here. Come here, you. You know, you can see that we're buying below this last high here. That's a good thing. It's a smart thing. It's arguably one of the smarter moves to make. Even if we were to go down here, you're buying at a very prime time. If you're like me and you're trying to catch the low, you're trying to catch lower prices, buying at a better time so that you can be better set up for the next bull market. This is not financial advice. This is my opinion. I do think we're going to go lower. I do think we're getting set up for that. And I think that all these little bullish moves, these little wigwags, are just to psych people out, get people bored. There's a lot of people who are bearish in the markets right now. And moves like this All they are reasons for people to be bullish, to have the idea that we could be going up. In fact, you know, people get bored and they start to lean one way or another. A lot of people I know back here thought that we were going lower. We went up. I was telling people back here, I was making videos saying this was a fake rally. We were going to go lower. We did. And I'm telling you this now. I think that these little moves, I told you here, I told you here, I'm telling you now, I think that we're going to go lower. I do think that this is a fake move. Not a fake move. It happened. It's a real move. But I don't think it's going to be significant enough to send us to the upside. I can be wrong. I've been wrong before. I'll be wrong again. But right now, that's my opinion. I hope everybody has a good day. I hope everybody makes a lot of money. Sleep well, do well, be well. Take care of yourselves. Like and subscribe if you want to see more content. I hope this wasn't too all over the place. I have had a few drinks tonight. Giant hard teas. They're fucking great, man. I'm not getting paid to sponsor them. I just like the drink, okay? Anywho, take care, everybody. I hope you have a wonderful time. And just be cautious of this bullish price action that we're seeing. Be cautious. Take care.